Connecting to cloud. Okay. I'm Charlie Starrett, and I'm from Transformational Women. And part of what I do is interview inspiring and inspirational and influential women from across the world to inspire others. And today, with me, I've got the current world champion of public speaking, Ramona Smith. I am absolutely delighted to have you on the show, Ramona, and I'm looking forward to interviewing you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. And you're based in Houston?
Yes, Houston, Texas.
Texas, and I'm here in Brisbane, Australia. We are, I don't know how many kilometers or miles apart, but it's amazing that we can communicate in this way. It's incredible. So we talk about communication organization, but actually the technology that brings us together and enables us to have a chat is phenomenal. And I'm never going to take that for granted. It is amazing. So with that said, I would like to introduce you as the queen, the current queen of World Championship Speaking. You won in 2018 in Chicago. It was amazing to be there. I was there in the audience with my partner, and to be there for the time when two women were announced second and third, and then you came out and you were announced at first was just unbelievable. And to see your face was incredible. Can you do that expression again? It was amazing. It was are you really calling me? It was incredible to see. It was right what Lark Doley said. It was history. History was made. 3 women on the stage, and the place erupted. The audience was we were so high. So huge congratulations to you. Huge congratulations to Anita and Surisu. That it was really amazing to be there. It's broken something. There's a huge shift. Phenomenal. So since August the 25th, life changed.
Yes, significantly. Just well sought after. People are.
Give me one example.
Like I mentioned before, I think I've done about 25 interviews this week. I'm a teacher, so I have news media coming up to my classroom wanting to record. I have huge media outlets contacting me, huge media outlets in America anyway, like MSN, Business Insider, CNBC. I did 97.9 The Box, which is a radio show here in Houston. Houston is huge, has millions and millions of people, so millions and millions of listeners were able to hear me and hear my story. I have emails and direct messages and Facebook messages and Twitter and Instagram, just everything, just people wanting to know more about what happened.
It's almost like your life has exploded. I get a sense of from the energy with which you're telling me that it's just gone ballistic. But also you've been invited overseas.
Yes, to several different cities, mostly in the Middle East, Dubai and Kuwait and surrounding areas like Bahrain and Abu Dhabi and Qatar and did I say Kuwait and India already? Yes, those two.
You can say that as well. Yeah. How have you managed to fit that into your existing work and life?
This is my dream, to be honest with you. I've been wanting to have this platform for 8 years, and not just as far as world champion of public speaking, but just to be an internationally known motivational speaker. That's been my dream for 8 years, and for it to be coming alive, I don't really have to make room for it. The universe has already made room for it. So I don't have to force anything. Everything is falling into place because this is my purpose. This is why I feel like I was placed on this earth, and to get this huge platform to be able to be the messenger of the inspiration and the motivation that other people need, and to be the vessel in which they receive it. I don't have to do anything because I'm just going with the flow of what's supposed to happen based on what I was chosen to be placed on this earth to do.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things I'd like to do is touch on the Toastmaster side, but also maybe branch into other aspects of your life. And one of the things that you just brought to mind there was that, you spoke about in your final speech about going 3 rounds through boxing when you were knocked down, but you were never out. And,
Yes.
and some of the things that knocked you down and didn't actually knock you out were quite incredible. I'm sure you've spoken, I know you've spoken before about the 8-month marriage, the one that led us on to think, oh my God, I had 8 wonderful and amazing months of marriage.
Right.
That was so good. That was a real wind up. But there must be a story behind that.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously you don't have time on a stage to share everything.
Right.
What was the stuff that behind that you left out?
As far as the marriage?
Yeah, the one example, yeah.
Fools rush in. I wanted to be married, but I didn't want to take on the roles and responsibilities of a wife. And by me not growing up in a household where my parents were married or even together, I really didn't have any example or any role models of what marriage between a husband and a wife actually is. But I saw my friends get married, and I saw my sister got married, and everybody's getting married. But when you see people get married, that's one thing. But to be inside of a marriage, that's another thing. So I didn't do my research. I didn't get to know my husband the way I should have. We didn't even go to premarital counseling. We did no preparation. We just wanted to jump the broom just for the sake of saying we were married. And so when those tough times came early on in the marriage, we had no foundation. We had nothing to stand on because we didn't put the work in before saying I do. And so we didn't want to put the work in when things got rough. So we were like, okay, well, I mean, you're great, you're wonderful, but I don't really feel like fighting for you. You're wonderful and you're awesome, but I don't want to fight. So let's just dissolve it.
Yeah. And also it came at a particularly difficult time in your life with your son.
Yes.
That was something that was kind of background to your speech, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That was another problem that you had to face with. It was when I listened to your interviews since then on the box and elsewhere, that I think, oh, this is amazing what you've had to confront and deal with. Obviously, those things have made you who you are today.
Yes.
So with your son, you had some pretty radical stuff going on there as well, and he was quite young. He was about 2 years old. Is that right?
He was 2. Yes, he was 2. And when I got married, it was April of 2014, and then in August, my son got diagnosed with a cancerous brain tumor. So we are in the honeymoon stage. Things are supposed to be smooth and great. This doesn't happen to 4 months into a marriage. No, this is the good part. So that was kind of like what the straw that broke the camel's back. It was just, how do I choose between my child and my husband? Who am I supposed to give the love to? Where? And then my child's father was not my husband. So I'm dealing with a whole completely different male. That's another male energy who now he kind of trumps my husband in this situation because that's his son. Yeah. Like, yes, I know that's your wife, but that's our son, and he's going through some issues right now. So it was chaotic.
Yeah.
And I don't even think counseling could have prepared us for that. It was just, it was bad timing. It was a really rough situation that nobody could have foretold, that no one could have predicted. And so at the end of the day, I choose my child, and I'm sorry, I don't really know how to be your wife right now. All I know how to do is be here for my son.
Yeah. And one thing another thing I remember in your speech is when you came back to my marriage broke up. You know, I'm no good as a wife, and then you used that in a very jokey way in your speech as this is an international audience full of people from thousands of men from hundreds of countries, and hey, call me anyone out there. I mean, personally, I like that. I thought that was great humor to use that in the audience. Was that something that you was risky for you when you were thinking about, do I do this, or no problem?
No, that's just a part of my personality. I thought it was not going to be funny. And if I would have gotten a date out of that, it would have been awesome. I did not. Okay. And that's okay. But I kind of did want to implement that humor part, and just to let people know that, okay, fine. Yes, my marriage lasted for 8 months. And yes, I got divorced and I'm single, but I'm still looking. I'm still out here. I still believe in love. If you feel like you can handle all of this, then call me.
That's right. What made you decide to wear black on stage in the final?
My suit was actually navy blue. It was like a really, really dark blue.
Okay.
And I chose that color because that's the color that LaShonda Rundles wore in her speech when she won in 2008. And I like I said, I mimic the greats, but I don't emulate them 100%. And so since, like I said, I don't really know too many other people. I've never met a world champion before in person, before the convention, of course. And so I just used her as an example and a guide. And she had on a nice navy blue suit, and she had on jewelry, but it wasn't too distracting. So I said, you know what, LaShonda Rundles, I see you. I'm going to do what you did. It worked for you. Maybe it'll work for me.
That's nice. And I'm sure she was watching down on you as you did that in honor of her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I think I'd like to get onto the actual Toastmasters part of it, the actual speaking part of it, because one thing I wasn't quite sure, but I thought I heard you say in one of the interviews was that the night before the final speech, you know what I'm going to say. You actually, yeah, I think I need to change my final speech. Make it something else. Was that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
What that must take some courage to do that, to change it. In what way did you change it, and why?
The first speech that I had written, I had actually wrote it right here in front of my laptop. It was going to be titled "Keep Living," and I was going to talk about how when I was 25, I thought I knew everything, and I thought I was the queen of the universe. But then, boom, this happened, and boom, this happened, and boom, this happened, and still hit those same points. But it was going to be like a more storytelling type of situation, and I would have just brought it back all full circle to say that now. And I wasn't ever going to give away my age. I was going to say, and now when I'm 30 something, I know better.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a cool speech when it was just me and my laptop. That was cool. But once at semifinals, when I was able to get a feel of the audience, I kind of figured it wasn't going to resonate as well. Just something told me, like, let me give them a little bit less, but a little bit more.
Okay.
So I still added those same 3 points, but I'm like, this is the world championship stage. Let me go up here and have some fun and do something that I've never seen done before. I've never seen anybody get up there and put up their dukes as far as them fighting. And boxing is a universal sport. Everybody around the globe knows all about boxing. So it's an international subject, something that everybody from all over the world can identify with. So let's just switch it up. Let's have some fun. I mean, I write speeches all the time. I've been doing this for 8 years, so it's not very difficult to come up with something. And I was myself, and I just did it. I just went with it.
Yeah, and it's so important, isn't it, not to leave the audience down.
Right.
To really bring them up again, to get that sense of hope. Like, yes. Because there could be, people have gone through exactly what you've been through in different stages, of course, not all together. But you want to leave them with a sense of there's hope at the end of these experiences. So, yeah, we could make it very heavy, but yeah, we need to keep it up. So I think
that's why I was not victorious in 2015. That's why in 2015 when I competed and I came in 3rd place at the district level, that's why I came in 3rd place, because that's when everything was happening. That's when I was in the midst of the storm with the divorce, with my son, with just my life just being in shambles. And my ego was in it as well. So I went in knowing my speech is the best. I'm going to beat her and him. And this is my time to shine. It's all about me. Nobody can outdo my story. And so I went in and I'm like, my son and my failed marriage and my life is just horrible, but we're all unbreakable. And it was like, okay, you just ended with one sentence about us being unbreakable, but we're just depressed. Like, we want to hug you and we want to sing you some flowers and just cry with you. So like you said, I didn't have that element of turning it around and bringing them up.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't include the story about Ryan this time, because truth be told, nobody at an international convention wants to hear about a kid with cancer. It's depressing. It's sad. I don't want to hear about it. But divorce, okay, that's cool. Dropping out of college, okay, that's fine. Especially when you come back and turn around and clean it up. So that's what I was missing last time.
Yeah, it obviously worked, and the audience was just one final bit about that speech was the audience at the end. I just loved the way everyone just said, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think the look of surprise on your face.
Yes, I didn't expect it. I didn't write that into the speech.
Wasn't it amazing, the audience engagement?
I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
That's what he said. Yeah, we're still standing. And then they joined. It was incredible. It was one of those moments. It took me back to 2011 with Olivia Schofield, when she had a brilliant speech, but she went over time because she was enjoying herself so much up there with her teddy bear and things, that she just enjoyed herself, that she ran out of time. And I was just thinking, you know what, this could be a moment that goes over the 7:30 mark, but it didn't, thank goodness. And you were able to enjoy the audience. The audience was enabled to enjoy, just joining in. It was totally spontaneous. It was amazing.
It was. I didn't expect it, but I loved it, and that's my favorite part, and that's my son's favorite part of the whole speech.
It was amazing. Have you ever had that before in any other audience? Oh no, because
never.
That was amazing. It was great to experience that. It was.
Did you say it? Did you say it back?
What's that?
Did you say it too?
Yeah, I did. We were all singing. It was just like we were supposed to be singing. It was like the conductor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just awesome.
I loved it.
Brilliant.
I loved it. Yes. Oh, I could just watch that every day.
In your hand. Yeah, that was so good.
I love it.
I'll ask you about your speeches. I've got some questions here. What did you do different this time to win district and to win semi-final? I'm not quite sure if you've answered that, because we didn't hear your other speech. We only heard your final speech. So what did you do different this time to win your district and semi-final with that speech?
The speech that I used for all the levels throughout the semifinals, all through the semifinals, was called Not Good Enough. And one thing I did, I just went up there and I was myself. I talked about how it was another guy, and the nickname of the speech is called the Cliff Speech.
Right.
Because in the speech I talked about how, oftentimes we compare ourselves to others and we use other people's rulers to measure our success. Yeah. And there was this guy named Cliff who was perfect on paper. Oh my goodness, he was perfect. He was in real estate and had 2 master's degrees and was 6'8" and played in the NFL and just an amazing guy. But when we met, I was still in college. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any money. I did work study, but that's about it. I'm living on campus. And so, of course, naturally, he thought I wasn't good enough. And so, I told that story and I implemented a lot of humor, and I really made it about the audience. Like, yes, I told the Cliff story, but I was really talking about just asking the audience questions and really just, it was a speech that was written for the audience. Yeah. It wasn't all about me. It wasn't, yes, I used the Cliff example, but I was empowering the audience and saying that no matter what people think about you, as long as you know who you are, that's all that matters. You're awesome. You're great. You're worthy. You're valuable. You've always been more than good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all about the audience. It's not about you. So
about the audience.
When you said earlier about the 2015 at District, you said I let my ego get in the way.
I did.
And that's one of the big things that you've learned. You've overturned that.
Yeah. I had to, because every time ego is involved, I never win. And even now, so with all this attention and all these articles and all these interviews and all these opportunities, I still have moments where it's like, I am the world champion, but then it's like, no, you have a message for the people. You have a message that you have to deliver. Like, the only reason you're the champion is because you have the passion, you have the voice, you have the look, you have the energy to deliver this message that's coming from wherever, whoever, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
It's coming from all that, and it's trickling down through me, because I'm going to be the person who's giving the message, and my face and my voice and my story is what the people who need this message can relate to. Those are, they can receive it because it's coming from me.
Absolutely.
So ego is huge.
You are the vessel. You're the one that it's coming. Exactly right. I completely understand that, and that's wonderful to be able to feel that you're in total alignment with your life's purpose, your mission in this lifetime. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I have another question for Toastmasters type question. Do you use a coach? Did you have a coach?
I didn't have a coach, but after I would write my speeches, I would meet with like my district leaders, and we would talk about it, and they would give me evaluations, and they would give me feedback. But no, I did not hire a coach. There were some previous world champions who tried to get me to buy some of their products, and I'm like, why? I can just watch it on YouTube for free. No, I'm not going to buy your $4,000 product, and you can't guarantee me a world championship. No, and that wasn't genuine to me. And even now, it's like, before I even made it to Chicago, I was reaching out to some of the previous world champions, and nobody responded except Jim Key. And I love Jim Key for that. But even he was too busy. But it's like, now that I'm the world champion, I can call you on my phone right now.
That's right. Exactly.
And ask you any question I want to. But when I needed your help, or when I needed your guidance, I was a nobody. So I don't really like that part. But no, I did not have a coach, but I did have feedback from my club members and from my district leaders.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for answering that question. Another one I have is, how do you manage? It's a question, I guess, of more to do with your semi-final and district speak. How do you manage to keep your speech fresh, even though you keep practicing it? How do you keep that delivery fresh when you get up on stage and you've done it for the 100th time?
I keep getting feedback, and I keep getting evaluated. So after the club level, I got evaluated, and okay, you need to tweak this, and you need to do this. And instead of saying it like this, say it like this. And I kept doing that at every single level, because there's always something that can make your speech better. I don't care how many times you give it. It's always something that you can add to enhance it. So I listened to the feedback, and I followed the directions of my leaders and my club members, and I was humble enough to make those changes and to implement those changes. And I feel like that's how it just kept getting better and better and better, listening to the feedback and actually using it. Yeah.
And do you leave any room for putting things in intuitively into your speech as you're delivering it?
Absolutely. Yes. I would never write a speech at 7.5 minutes, ever. I will always leave space and time, because you never really know how the audience is going to react, first of all, because I might say something and it wasn't a joke, but then the audience will laugh. So as far as timing, yes, leaving room and space. And as far as just the openness as the writer and as the author, I leave room for changes.
Okay. Two more. What other things did you do, or do you practice that are not related to speaking to help with your speaking?
Choreography, like actually choreographing the movements and having intentional movement, because one of my issues was I would pace back and forth aimlessly. I would just be pacing back and forth. So if I'm pacing, you're following my body. You're not following my speech. So one thing I really, really, really had to work on was planting myself. I'm making this point. Then moving, planting myself, and making this point. What else? Pausing was big for me. So when I'm practicing for a speech, not speaking, if that makes sense. So I have to, because I talk fast naturally. And I want to just get my message across, and I want to say everything I want to say. But if I'm steady throwing words at you, you can't catch all of them. You're going to start dodging them, because like, oh, slow down. Woo, what is that? Wait a minute. So pausing after I ask you a question, letting you let it simmer. Well, how did you feel when life knocked you down?
Yeah.
Pause.
Exactly. And how beautiful that was when you walked from the middle spot to your first position, which is when you talked about your college four times when you've been to college and 4 times failed. Was that big space of just walking on the stage without filling it with anything? That must have been difficult, because I know what it's like when I'm walking on stage and I kind of go, every second seems like it's really long. But you did that. You walked across and you didn't say a word. That was really powerful.
Thank you. My district leaders helped me implement that choreography, because they said, stop, say something, and then take the audience with you. And then bam, and then stop, and then take the audience with you. So it was very intentional, and I do think it was powerful as well, just because, like you said, every second counts. So I'm really owning my time, and I'm owning the stage, and I'm giving you a story without having to tell you the whole story, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. But I just wanted to comment on those particular bits, those pauses and the walking while you pause. There's a lot to learn for any speakers watching your speech about structure, about pauses, about use of stage. Those 3 things to me really, really stood out as teaching moments for anyone who's who wants to compete for an international, or even just wants to be a better speaker on stage. You've mentioned kind of why you want to communicate, because that was one of the questions somebody asked me, was what made you want to become a communicator, and you feel that you have a message that needs to go out to the world. Now, can you elaborate on what that message is?
Well, I can elaborate on why I feel like I'm gifted with something, because the message is always going to be different. Now, the gift that I've been gifted is inspiration. I have the gift to inspire audiences. That's what my gift is. Now, what the message is, it's not the same message every time, because when I go to India, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. And when I go to Dubai, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. But at the end of each message, there will be inspiration. It may not flow through the whole entire room. Out of 500, 5 may be inspired. But those 5 are the people the message was for. But I discovered that I had this gift of inspiration when I was 19, and I got into this strange situation that I had no idea how I had gotten into it. And I inspired a strange woman who I don't know her name. I don't know where she is now, but it was like, okay, this is something amazing. But at 19, it was bigger than anything that I had ever dealt with or felt. And so I ran from it for many years. I ran away from speaking. I ran away from my purpose because I couldn't understand it. But when you start, I'm not sure if you've reached that moment yet in your life where you're like, okay, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do it. But you try to run away from your purpose and your passion, but then it starts to chase you down. And you get sign after sign after sign after sign, and you still try to ignore it. No way. But after 4 years of running and 4 years of signs, I don't know if you ever read the book The Alchemist, but that's my favorite book, and that's kind of what The Alchemist is all about. But after 4 years of this, my sister mentioned, okay, you've been talking about this speaking. Why don't you go to a Toastmasters meeting? And then that's kind of how everything started snowballing. And 8 years later, here we are.
Here we are talking now with you as world champion. It's amazing. And so it's not a long time to fulfill that particular part of your journey. When you think about that was 23 when your sister said to you, okay, what are you going to do? Let's join a Toastmasters meeting. 8 years later, you're the world champion. Now you've got a very powerful voice for women, for Black women. You've got a very important responsibility in that sense. I'm not saying this in any negative sense. I'm saying it in a positive sense.
Yeah.
To make sure that whatever message you've got through you is coming out loud and clear. And I can, I can imagine that now you're just going to take off.
Mm-hmm.
You will just go. It's amazing because it's been sitting there. It hasn't just suddenly come and gone, oh, I'm world champion now. Right. What do I do with it? I see it like world championship is like a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
Get more well known and to get yourself out there. So I'll be very, very closely watching your progress from here. I do hope you're able to come down to Australia. I'm sure some of the districts watching in Australia will reach out to you at some point and get you over here because we'd certainly love to have you.
I would love to come. That would be so amazing.
I know it's a long way, but it's worth it.
Okay. I just have to sit down on an airplane and then stand up, and I'll be there.
Yeah. Right. As a partner of of a Black woman, I've witnessed many things that have been, let me say, unfortunate and discriminatory. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting when you see it through another's eyes, because I've not experienced it as a white person, but I experience it through her eyes. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on any experiences that you've had, or one experience where you've been treated differently?
Personally, not me personally, no. And I've just been blessed to not have been a victim of racism. But I mean, in America, it's prevalent. It's prevalent. I was actually at a radio interview yesterday called Afro Vibes Radio, and the hostess and her husband were sharing with me that they had got pulled over the night before. And this is a young Black couple, and of course the officer was white, and we're in Texas. And so we know the whole situation that happened with many other African-American people, but specifically Sandra Bland, when she was pulled over and she was arrested and mysteriously committed suicide in jail. So, and she was actually, the hostess, she was actually friends with Sandra Bland, but she was telling me that her and her husband had gotten pulled over the night before. And this officer was just belittling her husband and just talking down on him and just really trying to get a reaction out of him. Mm-hmm. So, I hear about things like this all the time. Yeah. And it's very unfortunate, and I don't like it. And I'm not sure what it's going to take for it to change. Mm-hmm. But if I can be a part of that change, and if I can be a part of empowering and uplifting and educating not only African-American men and women or Black men and women, but, educating and maybe exposing a positive image of a Black person to other races, I'm ready to fill that role by any means necessary, because I'm a Black woman first, and I'm raising a little Black boy. Yeah. So it's real. It's real to me, and I don't have any hate or anything, towards any other races. But I'm a proud African-American woman. I'm a proud Black woman. I'm a proud woman of African descent, and my son is a little Black boy who I'm raising, and I have to, keep him safe and be aware of the dangers that he's facing just because he has melanated skin. Mm. So if I can be a part of the change and the positivity of racial disparities in any type of way, I'm all for it. Yeah. I'm ready to fight that fight.
Yeah, beautiful. And what a great role model you can be. You are already, but you will even more be, because when you look at that stage, first, second, and third, that all of them were women of color.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was mind blowing. It couldn't have been a bigger shift, to be honest, from previous, years, decades of the contest. It's remarkable, and to see you up there with the female president. With Lark.
Yes, I love Lark.
She's wonderful. She's another interview subject that I'd love to have on here, because she's really inspiring to me. Yeah. With her on the board, and she's amazing, great human being. Mm-hmm. But in conclusion, I guess what I'd like to say is thank you so much for being so real, authentic, a normal human being. There you are sitting in your room at home. I can see the door in the background.
Yeah.
And, you know, kind of there's no airs and graces. It's wonderful. And I wish you so well on your journey. I think that you are going to do amazing things because you have it in you. You have that passion in you, and it was already opened up at 19, and now it's come to fruition. Where you go from here, I really can see you doing very important big things in this world, and I want to wish you every success on your journey, and to thank you for being on Transformational Women as an inspirational and influential woman.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
My pleasure. And as I said, I would love to see you come down to Australia at some point.
Absolutely.
When we post this video, maybe some people will get a bit more interested in getting you out here. But thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. I hope I see you soon.
Okay, you too. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.